Good afternoon, viewer. Thank you for joining us on Nigeria Now on 8Th Television International. We're glad to know that you are out there, following this program. Thank you. Just do well to follow us on our social media handle at 8Th Television International. Like we do always, this conversation is all inclusive. So you can drop your comment, as we discuss together. We hear your view on things that we are going to discuss today, that concerns Nigeria, concerns you. And whether you are here in Nigeria or you are abroad and you are a Nigerian, definitely this program is yours. And as you know, in this show, I don't do it alone. I have Joyce Jakada, who always do justice to whatever we bring on the table. Joyce,
thank you so much for the compliment. Good afternoon. Yeah. It feels good to be back.
Yes,
and Nigeria is our only country, and we can't boast of any nation apart from Nigeria. Nigeria is a great nation, and we believe in it, and that is why we're always here to talk about issues. Where governments are going right, we applaud them. Where they are going wrong, we talk about it so that the needful is going to be done. The primary responsibility of every existing government is to protect lives and properties, to ensure that the evidence of democracy is being felt at all levels, and that is why we are here. And the essence of living is what? To make impact and then for humanity. Together, I'm sure we're going to do justice to the topics.
Yes, I agree with you. Talking about leadership, talking about governance, and that is why you find policies to guide direction of government on how to govern her people, what the people want, how they want, so that they will make impact on the people that they are governing.
True.
Today we are talking about 17 days to the general election, and then here we are as Nigerians thrown, with so many issues out there. You have the issue of NNPC, talking about the issue of fuel scarcity. You talk about the CBN. It's just scarcity, because if you talk CBN, you talk about the currency, the scarcity everywhere. And then you talk about INEC, with they are not far from the naira scarcity or the fuel scarcity. Looking at it, 17 days to general election, and then we are faced with fuel scarcity, and then a GMD of NNPC, talked about that in the next 1 week, we will not see queues, in filling station. Fuel will be available. And then I hear Nigerians asking these questions, based on what he said. He talked about, nobody in NNPC, orchestrated the issue of fuel scarcity. And then he talked about, NNPC are not benefiting even from this fuel scarcity. He talks about, NNPC, we are still one family from one community. So what are we to benefit when Nigerians, are going through fuel scarcity? And then he talked about we are proud of this country and we don't want Nigerians to suffer. And then Nigerians are asking all of this statement, how true it is. Because NNPC, they are the ones saddled with the responsibility to monitor these things that we are talking about. When you talk about importing the petroleum, the petrol, is NNPC. When you talk about the disbursement, is NNPC. When you talk about the monitoring, is NNPC. And then the group managing director is saying this. And then people are wondering.
Sambo Solomon, what baffles me about this statement is the fact that do we always have to be reactive? Why can't we be proactive?
Active.
This is not the first time we're having issue of fuel scarcity. Why is it always that when we're approaching the festive season, it's like a norm, that people even expect that once the festive season is approaching, there will be issue of fuel scarcity. And you see people, some marketers begin to hoard, and because they are expecting that by next week there will be scarcity. Why do we always enjoy subjecting Nigerians to suffering? Like, why are we always reactive? Hearing that statement coming from the group chief executive officer talking about Mele Kyari of the NNPC, saying that the issue of fuel scarcity is going to be resolved, is quite comforting.
Yes.
But like I asked from the beginning, why are we always reactive? Why can't we as leaders, as people that are saddled with the responsibility of caring for the people, come up with policies, sit down and write that based on the past problem we've encountered, this is the modalities we are putting on ground so that we don't experience it again. But we fold our hands, then when another year comes, we keep comforting the people. We are on top of the situation, it's going to be resolved. Why should it take 1 week? Do you know what it means that in the next 1 week, the president just yesterday assured us within the week, by the next 1 week, issue of naira scarcity is going to end. We are hearing that assurance. When there's attack, I assure you. When there's kidnap, I assure you. Why would we continue assuring Nigerians when the deed has been done? Can we not avert it from happening? Is this the first time that we're having this issue of fuel? This is not the first time. So what have we done to ensure that it doesn't happen again? Like I always emphasize, what is governance? What is governance without like looking at the primary need of the people? What is governance without providing just the basic needs of the people? When I watched a video of how Nigerians were struggling at one of the filling stations, almost fighting themselves with gallons and everything to get fuel. In fact, a story was told. Someone said, at some stations, some people, like, you have to even pay before you have access to it.
Yes.
Some people go as early as 3, as 4. Some even sleep there. When you see some of our NNPC depot, you see the queues there. You wonder, why do we always like subjecting people to suffering? Transportation has not just doubled, but almost tripled. The source of incomes of Nigeria is not as if it has increased. With the inflation, with everything, and we still have fuel scarcity, which we know at the end will have adverse effects on the food that people buy, on transportation and other things, with stagnated income. Yet, we are making life so difficult for people. Like I said during the morning show, I don't know how people go to sleep knowing well that I am in a position to provide the basic needs of the people, yet these people are suffering. I don't know how people sleep then, but I think, like you said, 17 days to the next election, presidential election, it's up to Nigerians to elect purposeful leaders, leaders that are actually up and about, leaders that have ideas, leaders that will not continue to keep us on this trajectory of one problem or the other. And I think when we do that, this is not just the time for you to show your PVC that you've collected it. Who are you going to cast the vote on? Have you checked their antecedent? Have you checked their pedigrees? Have you checked their past in their own community? How have they impacted it? So this is the time you need to ask all the questions you need to ask. This is the time you make all the findings you need to find. Forget about religion, forget about ethnicity, forget about region, forget about nepotism. Look out for people that have the ideas, people that are competent, people that are ready, that are patriotic, people that have humanity in them. And when we do that, I think the change that we desire is going to come.
Sure, I agree with you.
So from the GMD of the NNPC, talking about Mele Kyari, it's comforting. We fold our arms and wait. This is not the first time that we're hearing these assurances. From the beginning, from November, DSS said they are giving marketers, NNPC, how many days? It's lingered. We saw a lot of statements. President too said he's giving deadline. It all passed. Beautiful policies, but no implementation. Our hands are folded.
That's terrible. But we still believe in this country, and we will not fold our hands and then watch few people that are not really patriotic. I love this word that you said, leaders that are not patriotic, because if you find leaders that are patriotic, I think the country is going to be the first agenda, you know, and any other thing will follow, you know. And then when you see people taking their own agenda as the primary number one, then you know they are not leading you, rather they are leading themselves. You know, we have naira scarcity. You know, Supreme Court suspend CBN's February 10th deadline.
Well, this the new Naira policy has generated a lot of issues, and so many people have come up to talk. In fact, some state governors, I think this ruling is following a suit by some states like Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara. These three states actually went to the court with the issue of they went with an issue against the federal government on this new Naira policy, which we saw kick-started. Like the CBN came up with this policy telling Nigerians that there's need for them to change the Naira note because more than half of the Naira in Nigeria is outside the bank, which is irresponsible of any bank, Apex Bank, to fold its arms and see that its money is just outside. And that's why, to ensure that the money is back up, corruption, terrorism, kidnapping, among other things, they decided that there's a new Naira policy. So old notes should be submitted to the bank and new notes are going to be in circulation. But up until the deadline, the earlier deadline given by the Apex Bank, we saw that the new notes were not in circulation. Banks kept, even against the Apex Bank ruling that no old notes should not be dispensed at ATM, we still saw how people were actually withdrawing old notes, not until it was actually postponed. And if you go to the ATM, you can get the new notes. But unfortunately, the queues we see, and at the end of the day itself, most people don't get to withdraw the new note. When you go to the POS, humongous amount of money are being charged just for peanuts. And you ask yourself, am I actually working for these people or they are working for me? For some people, they will even tell you that they were charged as high as 2,000 Naira for 10,000 Naira. That's so disheartening. That's wicked, like, if you allow me. And when you ask some of these operators, POS operators, they will tell you that's what is also encounter. And some of these state governors have said that in some of their local government, there are new banks that the people in the remote area can even have access to even deposit their money. So a lot of people came up with cases against the federal government that this deadline should be postponed, the use of the old currency should still be in place. In fact, we saw how the Senate said till June and all of that. But back and forth concerning that, and the Apex Court, the Supreme Court, have come out to say that CBN's February the February 10th deadline remains. It shouldn't suspend it, and it didn't end there. A lot of controversies continue. But like I always say, in all of our policies, who do we have in mind? Who do we have in mind? Do we think about the average Nigerian? Do we think about the woman frying akara? What about the man, the farmer in the remote village that is farming? How have we enlightened him about the benefit and the advantage of this policy? Have we been able to come up, fix our tech and our internet in a way that it will accommodate over 100 million people that might be online, or over 50 million people that are trying to do transactions? Are we well prepared for this thing before we just kick-started it, or we are just trying to, only God knows? But I think in everything, the people, the average citizen should be put in the forefront as policies are being taken.
I agree with you. Again, INEC says new Naira policy will affect its own operation.
Like I told you
17 days.
So 17 days.
To go.
Nigerians have been worrisome about this election. Will INEC postpone it? Will it hold? Will it not hold? INEC continue to assure Nigerians it's going to hold. Don't worry, nothing. You know, the first case was the issue of insecurity, where we saw that a representative of INEC in Abuja was saying they might if this issue of security continues. And INEC, through the chairman, came out and debunked that and said any statement outside what they say, which is going to hold, is not from them. And so Nigerians should be best assured that the election is going to hold. And today we are saying, INEC saying that this new Naira policy will affect its operation. And this is the reason they are giving. That's because they have people that they work with, and they said they are in the remote areas, some of the ward level. There might be issue of changes, and that if those people in the remote, that some of the people that they work with directly at some of these wards in remote areas are unbanked. And so this new Naira policy might make it difficult for them to transact with them. And people say, is that genuine? Like, is that really enough reason why you should say that it might affect your operation? Well, they are not saying it will affect the election, like their operation logistics and all of that. So, well, INEC and some went to the CBN with some delegations to see the governor of the central bank. We hope they resolve whatever it is. Like that, I was saying earlier.
He assured them that enough money will be given to them concerning that operation.
So my concern is this, awareness. We still have people that are unbanked. And our technologies, the internet.
It's not yet there.
Like, I was in the market after buying things. I did transaction, like after being debited 3 times, the person I sent money to didn't even receive. I had to sit for like 2 hours. The other time I went to the hospital, it was the next morning that so the doctor had to just go. So imagine I have to stay for him to confirm because he doesn't know me. I'm just a stranger. Now I will sleep there till the next day. I think banks need to improve their tech. Let's not, whereas we're saying the cashless society, we are moving towards cashless society, we're trying to imbibe what other developed nations are doing. We should also see what they put in place for these things to work out. Let's not just subject Nigerians to unnecessary suffering. Sometimes when you pass some of these ATM and see how people have been there sitting and then spending the whole day, at the end of the day, you see that no cash still in the ATM. Like, it doesn't tell good of us. If Central Bank is saying they have disbursed funds, they have given commercial banks money, how well have you been able to monitor to ensure that these monies are being given to the masses? Or is it being hoarded and then given to some special individuals in court? So I think the CBN, beyond coming out to say we have disbursed, we have disbursed, we have disbursed, can you go down to the street and monitor this development and see that actually what you gave is what is going out, so that we don't keep subjecting people to suffering. As for INEC, I think they should resolve whatever it is, so that we don't have to be going back and forth with this. Will it hold? Will it not hold? It will affect the logistics, so election will not hold in this place. Nigerians are ever ready for this election to hold, and postponing is not what anybody wants to hear. So the needful should be done.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Because it is very important. I just wanted to say that, you know, for INEC to say what she said, I think she's confirming just the analysis you made, you know, by saying some of this local government, you know, you don't have most of the people that are living there, their own bank, they know their transaction based on raw cash. You know, if you want to give them, settle them, and then, you know, you can't say you are coming for election, you are hiring me to do this, and I don't have bank account, and then I can't give you money. You know, it won't tell well. And I think it's very important. If INEC as an institution would say that, then you should know that, yes, this is what Nigerians are going through. This is an institution of the government, well respected, because it's handling one key thing about Nigeria, you know, election that we all look forward to. And then they are saying the cashless whatever is going to affect based on the analysis they give, based on people that they work with them, grassroots. So you can see how spread we are. The grassroots is not well grounded that will accommodate this. So I think it is very important so that we'll get all of these things right. You know, controversy difference, you know, this Naira policy, you know.
I think almost everything we're talking about is surrounds this new Naira policy. Like we said earlier on, the Supreme Court is telling the CBN to stop on this deadline of the Naira notes, following the suit that was submitted by 3 governors. Again, like that was what happened yesterday. We saw how that these 3 governors went and said, gave a suit against the CBN saying against the deadline. And it didn't end there. INEC came and said it might affect its operation. It didn't stop there. 14 political parties, about 14 political parties also went to say that, no, it shouldn't stop. It must continue. That CBN must keep to its word and that this deadline must stand. Because some people want to use this opportunity to buy votes. And they say if the deadline is thwarted or postponed, that means you're giving room for other people to buy votes. You're giving room for terrorism. You're giving room for kidnapping. That's what these political parties are saying. controversies. Nigerians, on the other hand, are worried, while some are of the opinion that if you actually postpone it, the aim will be defeated. And others are saying, no, the masses are suffering. We are not actually ready for this. And my concern is with the three governors, the governor of Zamfara, Kogi, and that of Kaduna State. So we can be swift to action like this. Just following the suits that they submitted on Monday. Today, Supreme Court are ordering CBN against its February 10th deadline, even though a high court in Abuja has told CBN not to go against its deadline.
You know, Supreme Court is our apex court.
You get. So a lot of controversies are coming up following that, but my concern is of the three governors, like I said, so we can be this swift to action. It was just on Monday, and then look at what is coming out. We had the issue of ASU strike. We have the issue of attacks, killings, kidnappings, even down to secondary school level. In Kaduna, a lot of attack, southern Kaduna. And then when you go, this issue of unemployment, out of school children, poverty, eating deep in Nigeria. And we have all of these issues. We cannot even be swift. We didn't see how any of these governors were actually swift to action. But this NERA policy have made them to actually come together, even submit a suit against the federal government, and an action has been taken, like the Supreme Court. So we can be this swift, yet we allow every other problem to linger. I think the same energy that these governors use, if they can channel it to other areas where Nigerians are suffering, is going to be important.
And to add to what you just say, you know, look at this recent killing in Katsina. Over 100 people, and they are still counting. And it baffles me. Anyway, you know, like you rightly said, 17 days, you know, to go, you know, while we'll just all go and then decide who will lead the affairs of this country, you know, in the next 4 years. Please be deliberate about who you're going to vote. You watch them, all of them going around, they are everywhere on the television and radio, you know, saying what they want to do. Please, like my sister says here, you know, forget nepotism, forget religion, forget region. Vote the right candidate, somebody that is passionate about this country, that this time around we just have to make it right. It's more than just collecting your PVC, but using it and following your conscience. I think that is key. Thank you for doing this with us. Let's do this again tomorrow, the same time, same station. Thank you, and God bless you.